Good evening. My name's Greg Shea, class of 1983, and I'm honored to be your host for Bridge the Gap, Salle Collegiate's first ever online fundraiser. Our community is best, I think, when we can come together in support of the values that our De La Salle family has been built on over these last 93 years. So each night this week, we'll celebrate the many events that we weren't able to hold in person due to the COVID-19 pandemic, each of them playing an important role in raising money for tuition assistance for our students and supporting the Lasallian mission of the De La Salle Christian Brothers. And here, with a special message from the brothers, is President Emeritus, Brother Bob Carnegie. Brother Bob?
My name is Brother Bob Carnegie. I'm the President Emeritus at Salle Collegiate in Warren, Michigan. This is my 70th year as a brother of the Christian schools, and I couldn't be happier and more proud to have spent the last 20 years at this wonderful institution. I never tire of hearing or talking about De La Salle and our students and programs. But as you know, the weight of the global pandemic has spared no educational institution, including De La Salle Collegiate. The pandemic has thrown Catholic schools across the country in disarray. Our community is suffering too. Forecasters predict that Catholic schools can expect 20% decreases in enrollment. Our families are hurting. In many cases, tuition assistance is the only way they can afford a Catholic education for their sons. The focus of De La Salle's Bridge the Gap fundraiser is tuition assistance. We have incredible faculty and staff, members who work tirelessly to ensure that our 680 students receive a Lasallian education. It makes me feel good when I know that your financial support goes to help our fine young men. Let us remember that we are in the holy presence of God. To support our students, teachers, and staff, we need to raise about $500,000 in this campaign. We enjoy the financial support of alumni, donors, and friends like you. Every dollar raised in the Bridge the Gap campaign will go directly to support our students and their families. Your donation of any amount today will provide a young man with a Lasallian education. Won't you join the Christian Brothers and me in investing in this important cause? Won't you consider supporting De La Salle Collegiate? I'm here to ask you to make a donation to Bridge the Gap today. Please think of the memories you have of your time at De La Salle and consider helping our students with a charitable donation today. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for learning more about our Bridge the Gap. Thanks for helping me promote our wonderful school. St. John Baptist de La Salle, pray for us. Live Jesus in our hearts forever.
Thank you, Brother Bob. Tonight, we'll begin by saluting the Christian Brothers Dinner. We'll hear from past honorees, alumni, faculty, and some students. And we'll later hear from our 2020 honoree, Mr. Gary Buslepp. We'll share memories, we'll have a few laughs, and we'll remember why the mission of De La Salle is worth supporting.
I would say that the Christian Brothers Dinner, a highlight of the year. that helped bring people together. When you get close to 1,000 guys from the school, getting together from different generations, mixing and talking and sharing stories about where they've been and what they've done, and it helps solidify friendships. The Christian Brothers Dinner is like an annual super alumni association dinner.
Well, the Christian Brothers Dinner is very special, especially to me, because I was involved with the very first dinner. Started out at Grosse Pointe Yacht Club with approximately 150 in attendance. So the most rewarding thing for me with respect to the Christian Brothers Dinner is the overwhelming support that we've had over the years. So we went from 150 to almost 1,000 people. Now, that's a credit to the graduates and friends of De La Salle who have supported the dinner. It is a giant alumni function, networking function. It is unbelievable when they come together, the friendship, the camaraderie that comes from that dinner. It's an incredible experience. Anybody who goes to that dinner once oftentimes wants to come back. They want to come back, and they put it on their calendar. It's a must go to.
Because we're not able to join together as community, I think it's really important that we understand that the needs of the school and the focus of our school remain the same, which is the kids. Our students here I've always viewed as special kids from special families, and it can't all be done with tuition payments. We have to be able to give assistance to provide tuition and programs and instruction and experiences that cost money. So I would certainly make an appeal to anyone to be generous and to think of the kids and to think of the history of our school and all the things that we've done to make life better, not just for the kids and after they leave, but for the world in a small part as they go on like ripples on a pond, carrying forth good things that they've learned here that we reinforce that their parents instilled in them even before we got them. So whatever you can do to help, I would ask you to do so, and also thank you for any generosity that you can find to share with us.
The mission of De La Salle provided me with this foundation for the rest of my life.
I learned how to work here. I learned how to think here. I learned an ethic. I learned determination.
Service is an important aspect of Lasallian education because it allows our young men at a very early age to realize that they have an opportunity to give back to their community and to their school.
The impact that people can have on others and the sacrifices people make. That's really what De La Salle is all about.
Young men's futures are very different without places like De La Salle. What does college look like? What do life skills look like? De La Salle is a place where those values and that humanity gets taught and modeled.
The school always welcomes people to come back, whether alumnus or not, and really help perpetuate the mission of the school.
I graduated in 1959.
1975.
Proud 1977 graduate.
Class of 2008, Go Pilots.
It doesn't matter if you're a graduate from 1979 or 2003 or 2019. Once you're a brother of De La Salle, you have everyone's back.
Now to donate, go to delasallehs.com. That's delasallehs.com and click on the Bridge the Gap link. Once you're on the site, simply click on Donate. And you can select your level of giving, or you can type in a different specified amount. You'll also see our silent auction items there. Please bid on them. There's some great stuff.
Hi, I'm Matt Loria, De La Salle Class of 95, and I'm the Christian Brothers Dinner Committee Chairperson. And on behalf of the Christian Brothers Dinner Committee, I just wanted to say thank you to Gary, and a big congratulations to Gary in this well-deserved award for him as our honoree for this year.
I want to congratulate Gary Buslepp. He's our honoree for the Christian Brothers Dinner Banquet, and one more deserving than anyone else that I can think of. Thank you, Gary, very much.
One particular funny story, Gary came up to me and said to me, he said, John, your son Nick is using the faculty bathroom, and he says that's a no-no, and I'm going to have to approach him on that, and so he did, most certainly, and he pulled Nick aside and said, hey Nick, you've been using the faculty restroom, and there are plenty of other restrooms that are available to you throughout the school, so I don't want to see you in that faculty bathroom anymore. And of course Nick's response was the fact that the faculty bathroom was the cleanest restroom in the whole school, so why wouldn't he use that restroom? So it made sense to me, but Gary of course didn't see the humor in that, and maybe he saw the humor, but he most certainly reprimanded Nick, and I'm sure that Nick didn't use the faculty bathroom after that unless Gary was out of the building.
Hi Gary, this is Mike Zakowski, of course, and I want to congratulate you on being the honoree for this dinner. Gary, I can't tell you how much you have meant to me over the years. You have been an inspiration, and in no time greater than when you returned to us just a couple of years ago to help us in the academic support program by tutoring mostly freshmen. I was blown away by your devotion to that job, and as I look back, I know that you've always been that way in everything you've done. So you have inspired me, you have motivated me to be better at what I do, and I want to thank you for that. God bless.
Gary Buslepp, what a great man. Gary Buslepp was the reason I'm at De La Salle. When he was the athletic director at De La Salle, and De La Salle was moving to Warren, he reached out to the president of Warren Youth and asked for a young coach to come in and be a JV coach. And the president of the Warren League, had told him go after Mukhtar and things like that. So he approached me. Never seen me before. I remember when he called me, and I didn't know a whole ton about De La Salle, but I decided to meet him at the old school. I wore my polyester warm-up that you guys would all laugh at right now. I had afro hair, and I was walking down the hallway towards Mr. Buslepp's office, and I swear to you, he couldn't run up fast enough to close the door before I reached him. We sat down, we talked. He hired me. Smartly or not, I don't know, but he hired me. And the next thing I know, a year later, I was a varsity coach at 23 years old, and I've been at De La Salle, my love, forever. So to Gary, he's a true professional. Every aspect of everything he did at De La Salle was first class. When he was assistant principal, everything he's done. I love the man to death. He's got a wonderful family, and I owe everything I do in my life, honestly, for him. He was persistent in asking me to give it a shot at coaching. The coaching led to my teaching degree, which is my vocation from God. And for that, I thank you, Gary Buslepp.
So one of the things I'm going to miss the most about having the dinner in person at Penna's this year, it would have been the ability to actually announce Gary, as the winner in front of 1,000 people. Especially because of the fact that I don't know if Gary would remember this or not, but Gary gave me a Saturday detention back when he was vice principal when I was at LaSalle, and at that detention, he made me scrape about 100 tables, the underside of them, taking the gum off of the tables. So what I was planning planning on doing was bringing this as a gift, as a token of appreciation. And this is a paint scraper, and what I was hoping was that we could get a couple of guys to flip over a couple of tables and return the favor to Gary there and let him just experience really what De La Salle was all about.
Hi, my name is Vicki Granger. I've been at De La Salle since 1982 as a teacher and as a staff member. I was the 2019 Christian Brothers Dinner honoree. What a distinct honor and what a privilege. Our 2020 honoree is Mr. Gary Buslepp. Gary has been a good friend since I walked in the door back in 1982. For many of you, he is so many things: a teacher, a fantastic coach, he was a great administrator, and most of all, a fantastic colleague and friend. Congratulations, Gary. Here's to you, and next spring when we all get together and can celebrate you in the way that you deserve.
And I wish I could tell some funny stories or whatever, but I can't, because, and maybe that's what's funny about it, he was an incredibly serious man, doing serious things that eventually rubbed off on me and made me realize, when you think you've worked hard enough, keep going. When you think you've done enough, do more. He was the one person that said to me, just remember one thing. You're a good player, but there's someone out there right now who's better. There's always somebody better, and there's someone out there right now working harder than you. And those words haunted me. And by the way, still do, even in my professional life. And what I would say is this, and I've only said this to 2 other people. Gary Buslepp made a profound impact on my life and is one of the reasons, if not the main reason, why I was so successful. And I can't thank him enough. And there are times when he says, oh, I don't want to bother you. And I want to look at him and I want to just say, bother me. I go, you know, what can I do for you? And he doesn't realize it because he probably thinks it was his job. He probably thinks that's what he was here for. But some of the things that he did for me and some of the guidance that he gave for me, that's not in a job description. It just isn't. It's a man who cared about the guys he coached, cared about me enough to tell me when I was doing it wrong, praise me when I was doing it right, which was few and far between, and also create a scenario where some of my oldest and dearest friends, which were teammates, create a scenario where we collectively, not one person, but because you got to remember, I got injured my senior year. And this is, back when, the Catholic League Championship was everything. I got injured the game before the finals. I didn't play, but we still won. We still won that game. And yeah, I was, back then, it didn't matter now. Sure, I was an All-American. Sure, I was this. Sure, I was all these different things. But I didn't play in that game. My teammates won that game. I was sitting on the bench. And we don't win that game, or we don't hang that banner without Gary Buslepp. And I would do anything for the man because he even sacrificed his own time, his own career to coach us and give us more time than you can imagine. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. I'd do anything for him. I love him.
Oh, Gary's, there's many things. Gary's probably cringing right now, like, okay, what's coming? Because we've shared a lot of laughs and a fair number of challenges and heartaches along the way, too. I can say this about Gary, and being fair to every coach who I have had the honor of serving, and over my career, which is now 60 years of coaching, which which began in '60 and comes through the present. I've coached with a lot of great coaches. I don't just mean good coaches, great coaches, some of whom I've mentioned already here at De La Salle, but would include Duffy Doherty at Michigan State, Bobby Dobbs at the University of Texas, El Paso, and others at various stations between lower level high school to college. I can easily say Gary is the best all-around coach that I've ever worked with and for. He has it all. He has the X's and O's. He has the care for the kids. He knows how to push the psychological buttons to prepare a team to play. So I consider myself really fortunate to have learned as a partner with him, so to speak, but clearly he was the leader of our basketball program and our athletic program when he served in that capacity. So as far as what he taught me, simply being himself, modeling who he was, that was the greatest gift that I got from him. Advice for him, just kind of take a deep breath and sit back and enjoy it, and have the satisfaction of people saying "job well done," or saying thank you, or any variety of complimentary things. I've always felt that people like Gary, myself, and others who are honored are actually receiving it for hundreds of others who never get the opportunity to have such an honor, to be thanked and to be appreciated. And so I'm sure Gary and I and many others who have received the honor do it in behalf of everyone who serves our community here at De La Salle.
It's now my honor to introduce our 2020 John C. Monigold Award winner and our 2020 Christian Brothers Dinner honoree, Mr. Gary Buslepp.
Although this year's Christian Brothers Dinner was postponed, I'd like to take this opportunity to share some of my thoughts as the honoree from 2020. As I look back on 23 years of great memories, the friendships and relationships formed over parts of 4 decades are what stands out the most. As a teacher and coach at Detroit De La Salle, we had to look past the 1926 bricks and mortar of a school that had seen better days. Being directly across the street from Detroit City Airport posed unique challenges. Airplanes and jet engines roared, taking off and landing on what always seemed to be a too close for comfort call. Football games were often stopped as planes flew very low when pilots approached their landing strip. Classrooms, labs, the library, they were cramped, and social distancing would never have been possible in our gym. It had a capacity of 500, but somehow we managed to squeeze 700 fans in to watch basketball. Students were literally hanging from the balcony and the rafters. Thanks to this home court advantage, LaSalle went undefeated at home during its last 2 years in Detroit. These and many other memories were part of the physical charm when you describe the facilities of LaSalle. We didn't complain. Instead, we adapted. We were very proud of our little corner on Connor and Glenfield. The new De La Salle athletic field that has yet to see its first competition would have been Detroit De La Salle's Field of Dreams. Certainly, the effort to maintain a quality, Christ-centered education can be traced back over the arrival of the Christian Brothers and their lay colleagues. Over the years, the educators of De La Salle managed to keep the main thing, and that would be the young men entrusted to our care. The builders of boys, makers of men motto is arguably a guarantee. It was accomplished during the good times, the tough times, through the teachers and coaches that challenged us in the hallways, in our classrooms, on practice fields, and during competition. The thriving spirit of community is synonymous with De La Salle. The late Brother Kevin Gilhooly was the last principal at Detroit De La Salle and the first principal at Warren De La Salle. It was Brother Kevin that led the Board of Trustees into making the move from Connor and Glenfield to Common and Glody. Brother Kevin and our passionate alums were instrumental in our survival while many other Catholic school communities chose to close their doors. Brother Kevin would make it a point to stop by locker rooms, win or lose, to offer his wisdom and advice, congratulating or encouraging student athletes and coaches. And this 28-year-old coach was all ears when Brother Kevin walked into a tearful locker room after a 1-point basketball loss at Brother Rice. He said, "You learn more about yourself in defeat than you do in victory. That's because success has many fathers, but defeat or adversity is often an orphan." His message was clear: during tough times, search your soul for the answer. As a student and as an athlete, as a teacher or as a coach, it can be easy to point fingers, but during difficult times, what can you do to change and grow? Like so many teachers and coaches, Brother Kevin was a smiling inspiration that I'll never forget. In the classroom, there were great teachers at both sites. There still are. Ones who managed to challenge, encourage, and connect with students. Mike Zatkowski is a graduate of De La Salle. We both arrived as teachers and coaches in 1977. Mike now begins his 6th decade as a prime example of one of De La Salle's talented yet humble educators. If you had Mr. Zatkowski for social studies, you probably recall his care and concern for your success, and for many an eye-to-eye conversation if you were just trying to slide by. Mike continues to make history in his own unassuming way as the leader of De La Salle's Student Services and Support Program. He remarkably begins his 43rd consecutive year of service to De La Salle, and I'm proud to say he's not lost a step. As a former De La Salle athletic director, I had the privilege to hire and work with many fine coaches who were extensions of the classroom teachers. When we walked onto the Warren campus in 1982, 3 coaches who brought immediate statewide recognition emerged in soccer, baseball, and lacrosse. Thayar Mukhtar continues to make waves in the soccer program. He acquired the nickname of the Little General as he led countless soccer teams to division, league, and state titles. Brian Kelly brought similar success to De La Salle in baseball. Kelly Field, named in his honor, continues to give testimony to his many years of dedication and championship teams. The new kid on the block in the mid-1980s was lacrosse. In 5 years, a state championship banner was hung from the rafters under the leadership of Coach Mike Jolly, the father of Michigan high school lacrosse. Inspirational administrators, teachers, and coaches continue to be instrumental as builders of boys, makers of men. There are so many more. Thank you for allowing me to share just a few of them with you. On a much earlier and personal level, I'd like to share one more. Certainly, my parents, wife, and children have been gifts I cherish. Each of us can point to a relative, a friend, a teacher, or a coach that helped us in life's journey. For me, Christopher Markowski was a professional basketball player whose plaque hangs in the Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts, and he was my cousin. If he could stand without the use of crutches, he would measure around 4 feet 10 inches tall. Chris was the second of 7 children. His youngest brother, Tom Markowski, covered high school sports as the lead prep writer for the Detroit News for 30-plus years. Chris was born without the use of his legs due to a congenital birth defect. He could throw a football 50 yards. He routinely made three-point shots in basketball and had an incredible wingspan. And he taught me how to throw a curveball. This he did all from a sitting position, and usually from a wheelchair or from a unique skateboard that my grandfather fashioned for him. Chris played wheelchair basketball for the Detroit Sparks in the 60s and 70s, making an All-American team in 1971, leading the Detroit Sparks to 2 national wheelchair basketball championships. Chris passed away in 1973 at the age of 24 during my senior year of college. And it was ironically due to a heart issue. To this day, I have never met anyone who lived life with more heart. Thanks for letting me share that personal piece. As I close, I wish to thank the many students, parents, Christian brothers, teachers, and coaches I had the privilege and pleasure to work with. I am humbled by the Christian Brothers Dinner Committee for this honor. If you're watching as a prospective pilot or a former pilot, I offer this bit of advice. Follow it and you will accomplish great things. Choose to listen to those who love you. Choose to learn from those who teach you. And choose your friends wisely. Stay safe during these challenging times. St. John Baptist de La Salle, pray for us. Live Jesus in our hearts forever.
Thank you, Gary. And thank you all for joining us tonight. Please continue talking up this event among your friends. Please continue your donations. And don't forget about those silent auction items. We encourage you to keep bidding on those. Tune in with us tomorrow night at 7:30. We'll head out to the Detroit Golf Club and we'll salute the Christian Brothers Classic Golf Outing. For now, good night. God bless. And go Pilots.